Yellow. It is Monday, December 29th. Shout out to Schmidt. Exit 52 podcast, hopping in for a quick one. I am solo. I don't know if any friends are going to be joining. We got perfect timing still. It is Spenny Powers here. And hop on in. We got Falcons, Rams. Going to be giving away some tickets here in just a second. I decided to let Grok pick, which I'm going to try and show live. And I think we can get away with here. But a lot in the national media. Going to give folks a chance to join instead of be doing this around kickoff. A lot in the national media, Lamar Jackson, and just the continuance. I even saw one that I thought was funny, just hilarious. And I get it's good for national folks, whatever. It's a fun story, I suppose. But I think the headline was from like Underdog Sports and said something to the effect of, watch out, Aqib Talib says Lamar Jackson is not going to, hasn't had good communication with coaches, and this is an off season to watch for all these headline clickbaity stuff. And clicked on the video. It was like 6 minutes, 30 seconds. Aqib Talib, Skip Bayless, chatting about Lamar Jackson. And the video is funny. It was just Skip Bayless goes, Mike Preston, a notable Baltimore Sun reporter, very respected, been around the team a long time, goes ahead and he says he used to play offensive line at Towson State University. And so he says that, they've been moving practices because like Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson's been staying up late playing video games, all that stuff. So just here to be a friendly reminder and tell you, don't buy into that. Don't engage. This is about the Ravens and the Steelers. This is not about Lamar and Tyler Huntley. This is not about anything other than the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers in January, actually. January, it's going to be 18 degrees somewhere, low of 18. I think there's going to be some wind involved. Derrick Henry coming off a 200-yard game, all that good stuff. So, again, have fun with it. This is why we love the Ravens. This is why we hate the Ravens. This is why you are a fan. 98 out of 100 times they're going to let you down, but let's see if they can have one of those special ones like they did last year, beat the Steelers in Baltimore in the wild card game. So, again, friendly reminder not to let yourself get dragged too far in that regard. But obviously, we'll have some more to talk about here. We see the Falcons-Rams going on. But folks are joining because you wanted to do a ticket giveaway, right? That's what we announced. Said we would try and do it early in the week to give people time to plan. I'm certainly down to help people accommodate getting to the game if you do win and it's tough. Please DM me the winner. It was all through Twitter. So we have Yitzy Weiss here says JLC and Preston battling for Baltimore Moron of the Year. JLC's been quiet. I don't think he's the 2025 Moron of the Year. But let's go ahead and see if I can fire this up correctly. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go over to Twitter here. All right. So I've got Grok pulled up, and let's open conversation with Grok here. I'll even zoom in just a little bit. All right. So I want you to take every eligible entry from that tweet, which a post, I guess you're supposed to call it now. Let's see if it says retweets in here. Nope, hasn't said it yet. Which posted a screenshot reply and also retweeted the tweet and account for them. Tell me who and how many eligible entries there are. And you secretly have one more second to get it in. Head on this tweet, giving away 2 tickets. All right. Let's see. Let's make sure Grok is viable here. Counting the entries. Again, this is going to be a Sunday night football game. Going to get you 2 nice tickets. And it's about a 3.5 hour, 4-hour drive from the Baltimore area. If you need some help with accommodations, let me know. I'll try and help you out. There is also the Jimmy's Famous Tailgoat bus, which is heading up. I think they filled one bus. I think it's about $175 per person. And they include food and drink on the bus. I don't think there's really a tailgate necessarily. I believe they leave 6 hours before game time. So can maybe help you out in that regard, something like that. But yeah, happy to send some folks up there. Again, if you have the means, if you do not win, would love to see folks head up there. and take over that stadium a little bit. If not now, when? Week 18, Ravens Steelers, classic game. Even if the Ravens are to lose, we'll knock on wood for them. A classic game, nonetheless, and what feels like closing of a chapter of this rivalry. I don't think whichever coach loses this game will be there. I don't know if either coach will be there moving forward. So this might be the final installment of Mike Tomlin versus John Harbaugh. That's a pretty cool one to see, and one that I think will be remembered for a long time if that is the case. So looks like we have 93 replies for the giveaway. Grok really going into the depths here, which I don't use Grok a ton. Figured it would be best to use for a given tweet or post or whatever we're calling it on the Everything app these days. But my word, really taking a while here. So make sure to get up there if you can. Happy to send to folks. This is really doing the Lord's work for us here, trying to make sure everything's valid and spot checking sample images to verify here. So let me know in the chat what you're thinking about this game. We'll go through some quick chat things. If there's anything you think is interesting or any tweets, anything like that, any talking heads you want to get into a little bit, we have a little bit of time to hang out. All right. Looks like it indexed it really well. I recognize a lot of these names. And that about matches, I think it said that there were 93 eligible entries. Considering that they reposted it. Awesome. Once this finishes indexing, we're going to ask good old Grok. Your power of going to this game will be in Elon's hands here for all the wonderful things Mr. Elon does, right? All right. I want you to pick one random winner out of those 93. Put their account name and handle. I know it always drives them crazy if you say thank you. There's another 100 gallons of water. All right. The J page here. Jamie, you are the winner. Out of Maryland. Had an account since 2011. Jamie, I think we've met before in person. And even there you see the splash zone. I think that might be me right there. The night one of the splash zone with the Orioles. So, Jamie, we are sending you there. Looks like you got the blades. You got the beanie ready. All of it. See the retweet right here, and some funny posts on the timeline. So Jamie at the J page, you are the winner. 2 tickets. DM me, and we will get in there. Jake, I have no idea how long you've been there.
I've been in here for probably like 2 or 3 minutes now. And at first I was just like, oh, he's just waiting to kind of introduce me here. And then I realized what was going on, and I figured I'd AJ Hawk it until you realized. So happy to be here. And congrats to our guy, Jamie, longtime listener. So that's awesome.
Congrats. Yeah, Jamie, I'm 99% sure we've met possibly multiple times. So there we go. Jake, the Everything app, it can even pick winners for you.
How about that? I mean, giveaways, bank accounts, everything is coming up, Everything app. And I'm very excited. Very excited to be back on here yet again tonight. Week 1 of the playoffs, as it were. What a feeling, what a time to be alive, and what a historic matchup, as you were hinting at there, for the audience, and your audience of one, which was me for a couple minutes there.
You scared me a little bit. What section am I in? We are going to be sitting in section, let's see, I grabbed tickets. They are in section 218, row G, seats 5 through 8. That's where you can find me. So 218, it is the visitor side corner, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look at the little map here. If you need help getting up there, Jamie, let us know. I might even have room in the car. You can come with us, something like that. We're taking a little caravan up. I think Brian's going to be attendance. Jake, I know you're mulling it over. Hopefully we can get Jakey boy up there. What games have you gone to away? Have you gone to any? I can't remember.
Not in a long time. I want to say I was a kid the last time I went to an away game. And that was when I was living in South Carolina. I went to a Panthers game. So it's been very long time.
I've only been to a couple. I think I saw the Dolphins Thursday night disaster. I saw the wild card.
Yeah, we need to have a conversation about, should we be sending you to this game? Because I don't know if that's in everyone's best interest.
Ravens had beat the Giants twice in my presence, the Jets once in my presence on the road, lost to the Dolphins, lost to the Bengals. and preseason games don't count. I've gone to the Commies Stadium.
Yeah, I've done that, if that counts.
Yeah. I think, and I went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
I went to the Super Bowl. Bills, and I went to the Bills last year. Starter jacket that I have, and I think 4. So that's done with. Definitely going to wash it. Definitely not going to wear it. And that's taboo. My little fluffy hat that I wore on Thanksgiving, I wore that to both the Bills and the Thanksgiving loss. So those 2 things are no-go right now. Definitely not. So definitely Pittsburgh's a cool city, man. I'll say it. I went there for the first time. I went to the US Open this year, stayed in Pittsburgh. Really cool vibes. It is so industrious in a really unique way because obviously it was the steel capital. So business was a booming once upon a time, and all these skyscrapers, when it was a hustle and bustle in city, were erected and have a lot of cool detail in the carving, the stonework, the masonry of it. Really, really cool in that regard. A lot of like big old banks that have turned into bars and restaurants, stuff like that. Cool place. Was pretty pleasantly surprised. Like felt like more character. Like when you go to like down in Inner Harbor, downtown Baltimore, like quote unquote downtown Baltimore, feels so void of like character and anything unique. Like the unique parts, like the neighborhoody parts, stuff like that. Pittsburgh was like full of character there. It was I don't know what the like resident population situation is there, but it's a cool place. Picklesburg, I've never heard of that. Taylor Rapicelli here says Picklesburg is a 10 out of 10 experience. Have to check that one out. So, yeah, excited to head up there. Hopefully you're coming. Bry Guy, I'm 95% sure is coming. A couple buddies, and he's working on a crew too. So pumped up, excited, and yeah, vibes are good, I think. I hope everybody's trying to take my advice and just not going into the whole Lamar Huntley thing. This is about the Ravens going to the playoffs one way or another. Harbaugh did have comments saying that if I think our boy Jack Settleman was talking about it too. He said he asked Coach Speak to decipher Harbaugh's comments.
He's a big fan of that account.
He is. It's a funny. I love those types of accounts. Let's see. Harbaugh said Lamar Jackson's status for Sunday night's game is to be determined. Jack said, "Talk to me at Coach Speak Index." Coach Speak Index, who is underdog, I didn't realize, replied and said, "A good sign that Harbaugh said we'll know a lot more Wednesday instead of we'll probably know more," which is really an astute observation. I was thinking about that, and I went back and just looked at like this season. Harbaugh has said probably, referring to Lamar Jackson, a lot, and he has not ended up playing in those games. So I think sounds a little bit more definitive. I thought that was an astute observation. And they also said Harbaugh's answer to the second question about Lamar's status is also a good sign, would be cautiously optimistic. And he gave a high score on, he was asked whether there were improvements throughout the week last week. Harbaugh said, yes, absolutely. There was improvement throughout the week. It was not good at all early in the week, and it improved as the week went on, and that was the cause for optimism. So they obviously didn't rule him out. I think it was far-fetched he was going to ever play. But, yeah, we'll see what happens in that regard. If it's Huntley, if it's Lamar, I think the Ravens need to be the fighting Derrick Henrys, pardon me, as we've said 1,000 times. So, yeah, how you feeling, Jakey boy?
Yeah, feeling good. I'd say in regards to this conversation, like don't try to glean if you want to protect your own sanity. Like we've been down this road multiple times now at this point, not just with Lamar, but with, plenty of players. I go all the way back to Brashad Perriman 10 years ago. Don't try to glean anything from what John Harbaugh says around the situation. And if he says wait until Wednesday, then we'll wait until Wednesday. And if there's still no clarity one way or the other, then you have my permission to freak out. But in the meantime, I don't think we're going to learn anything concrete. I feel like he's going to play. Like I just have that gut feeling. I'm not informed on the topic really at all one way or the other. But that is my general feeling. I mean, I know we, have gone back and forth about the severity and a back contusion, back injury, whatever the hell's going on with it. Obviously it's a serious thing and you want to protect that, but it's been, over a week now. He's had some time to rest up, plenty of time to prep here. And it is a playoff game. And as he himself said, they were approaching every game like it is the playoffs. Now this very much is the playoffs. Like you lose and you go home here. So I don't know. I think he's going to do everything in his power. Just my gut feeling, I'm leaning towards he'll be back out on that practice field probably by Wednesday, maybe even Thursday, whatever it's going to wind up being. But I do think he's going to suit up and go out there. What's your temperature on it at this point?
I'm slightly inclined to think he plays. I don't know It's peculiar always. I think most of that is from Lamar not having an agent and being a little bit more private. And like I was saying in the beginning, I think it's hysterical that this Preston story, which came 3 years ago, gets all this buzz, and now it's like being quote like Skip Bayless is talking about Mike Preston, and they're stating everything. Oh, he's Kyler Murray. He's playing video games. Like, I find it all very funny. And I also want to put this take out. Like, does Justin Herbert not play video games? Joe Burrow definitely. I know Joe Burrow does. I watched it on quarterback. These guys are all like huge gamers. They're basically given millions and millions of dollars when they're like not a fully developed adult male.
If that makes you any less of a fully adult male than you might as well consider me in short pants, because I'm a huge gamer myself. So all the gaming slander, let's dial it back a little bit there. National media. I'm a productive member of society. I have a job. I got a mortgage. I pay my taxes, and I like to play a little bit of video games. And I'm sure these guys do too. And there's nothing wrong with that, unless you do get a Kyler Murray situation where it is affecting your work potentially. Sure. And if they're insinuating that with Lamar, maybe there is something to clean up, but let's dial that back a little bit.
Board certified DJ said, "LL, Mike Preston never played football. I think he did play lacrosse."
Yeah, no, I never played. Yeah, like I get it, but it's like, well, the thing about Mike that is interesting is like people throw around the word reporter and like, what does it mean to be like Mike is a columnist. He's been that for a long time. I think he was on the beat, many moons ago, but at this point he's just kind of a talking head. He's throwing out his opinions. And I think in this case, he was running with some background information. I don't know if he was going to like specifically say, all right, sources are telling me this, that, or the other. But I think at this point, he's whiplash for he took all the video games from the locker room for himself. That's true. And Christmas was coming up. He's like, I'm going to get my video game like fix here. But in the case of Mike, I think he's just kind of a more of an opinion guy at this point. And I think he probably was speaking a little bit on background information, but he's a little bit of I'm just going to throw stuff against the wall sometimes and see what sticks. And in this case, it worked well for him because you've got Nick Wright going on national television and talking about it.
For Mike Preston, this was a grand slam home run.
Yeah, totally. And like they're doing the full rounds where they're replying to all the tweets with their podcast accounts, which I do like Mike and I love our Uncle Jerry. Like those guys they're legends on the beat here. So I appreciate all of that. But yeah, when you get to that point where it's Nick Wright talking about it on TV and Skip sitting there with Ernestine doing those weird fisheye videos talking about Sydney Sweeney and whatever the hell else, and then Lamar manages to come up in those conversations, that's a home run for them. So like even I don't know, like just kind of excluding all of that at this point, it's just kind of like we're at a position now where we're either going to know one way or the other, hopefully by Wednesday, and we can kind of just move on from it. And then we can have that conversation when the season is officially over. I just don't want this to, like you said, take up all the oxygen in this week going into what should be a really awesome, fun game for the division title and the last game of the season, game 272 or whatever it is.
What a mess in terms of narratives on both sides. TJ Watt injured in a needling incident at the team facility, I believe. DK Metcalf suspended for an altercation with a fan at the end of the season in a playoff push, and then they go lose to the Browns. Like, if they beat the Browns, that suspension's nothing, and DK's all rested up and is what it is, but it's not. TJ Watt, Lamar Jackson, DK Metcalf, like three of the, 5 biggest stars in this game, probably, like 6 biggest stars in this game. And who knows? You're going to be without all 3 of them. And I think that's the beauty of it. I think it's beautiful that way. I think it reduces down to Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh, if that is the case, more than anything. I'd say those are the biggest factors, is the coaching staff's ability. I think this becomes more about the coaching staff and their honest ability to look in the mirror at what they have and what they can do in a winner-take-all. If those 3 players are out, it becomes less.
These 2 guys have been playing. It's funny. We're talking about the media and the way they react, and we're guilty of this as anyone, as is fans. It's not just media. Like, it's just the way we consume this sport and the way social media works. Like, these 2 guys have been playing hot seat ping pong going back to like early season. When Harbaugh starts off 1-5, it starts off, being, oh, John Harbaugh, hot seat, where nobody's talking about this. And then Tomlin, they start to kind of blow things a little bit, as we talked about last night. It's like, oh, Tomlin, maybe we were talking about the wrong coach getting fired. Now we should be talking about Tomlin. And then the Steelers start to come back a little bit. The Ravens slip a little bit. And it's like, oh, we were talking about the wrong guy in Tomlin. Now we should be talking about Harbaugh. Now here we are again. and the Ravens win on Saturday and the Steelers blow their chance for the division title. It's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe we should be talking about Mike Tomlin. It's like, the answer is maybe we should just be talking about both of these guys. And regardless of the outcome of this game, I think we probably still should be, no matter how the season ends for both teams, unless, of course, one of them goes on to win the Super Bowl, which I don't think is likely for either.
Both of them, it's when you put the one thing that sounds so ridiculous to me, the Steelers haven't won a playoff game since 2016.
Two
I have
presidencies.
to think. What'd you say?
Two presidencies. Last playoff win, Barry was in office.
3 elections.
Yeah.
Crazy. To me, that's insane. That has to be, I would guess. Please chat, go check. But I would have to guess that's the longest tenured coach without a playoff win ever. Like consecutive seasons without a playoff win. And the Ravens have been good, but haven't really, had that breakthrough moment. They did play in one AFC championship game, but
I think Marvin,
in that same period of time, how many of the Ravens won? 3?
I think Marvin might have him beat on that, but that's the Bengals.
Did Marvin ever win one?
I don't know if he did ever win one.
Marvin Lewis playoff record. Yeah, I think he went like 0-6 or something. 0-7.
They went all those years, but I don't think that
he went 15 years. Yeah, good call. Yeah. So still a very long time, and 9-8 with another playoff miss, and just repetitively what are the Steelers' last playoff games? They got stomped by the Browns. Steelers playoff history.
I think it was 21, maybe.
Was that the last time they made it before last year?
I think so.
Because I think they lost to the Bills in 2023 as well. That was, I think TJ Watt had that touchdown in that game where Jersey Jerry thought he bet on TJ and he bet on Derek Watt.
Oh no. Yeah. Allen did the fake slide 50-yard touchdown run. Yeah. That was just a perfunctory, like, all right, you guys get in, congratulations. And we'll see you next year. Like you're only going to be around for one half of football in the playoffs, basically.
The Steelers have lost 4 straight playoff games by 2 scores. 28-14 Ravens, 31-17 Bills in 2023, 42-21 in Kansas City in 2021, and then Cleveland at home, 48-37 in that rout that the Browns put on. The Steelers kind of came back on them. And then that crazy, the last win was against Miami in the wild card. So they haven't even won a divisional round game since.
It's really just like, it's the bind they're in with Tomlin where like, you don't necessarily want to fire him because I think he is a great coach, but like, it's almost the only way you're going to get yourself a serious option at quarterback at this point, because like they keep just trotting out these guys that are going to be able to win them 8 games or whatever, 9 games now. So Tomlin can keep his, winning record or, 500 or better record. And that's going to keep going on, but you're not going to be in the mix for Mendoza this year. You're not going to probably be in the mix for a guy like that until you do move on from Tomlin and you can just kind of tank a season, which is unfortunate. I mean, it's possible. Like the Ravens obviously did it with Lamar. They were able to find a guy who is a kind of force multiplier there at the end of the first round. So it's possible, but it's difficult. And that's just kind of the conundrum they're in. And Ravens kind of in a similar spot, but they at least do have that, all powerful option at quarterback that you need. So
the Eddie here says winner of the AFC North definitely seems like they're getting the Texans. And man, that's a tough one. Like instant reaction thinking about Ravens or Steelers against Texans. I think the Steelers have a better shot maybe with the ability to get the ball out a little more quickly than the Ravens at times. I don't know. Maybe Derrick Henry can be the equalizer there at home, but Texans came here and beat the piss out of a really, really injured Ravens team with Cooper Rush at quarterback and 8 defensive starters out. So yeah, it's interesting conversation overall, those 2 coaches. And again, it might be the last chapter of it. Like my money's on that it is. I think there's been too much. And with coaches, the agents are so heavily involved. And I think coaches are willing to be an NFL head coach. You have to play the game a lot more, like fully. It's completely different from being a player, especially like a non-NFL player that becomes a coach, I'd say as well. And neither of those guys played in the NFL. Harbaugh has a little bit more, family history, obviously, with his brother playing in the NFL and his dad being a longtime, high-level coach. But it seems like they're both leaking out a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Harbaugh's been pretty stoic. Like, I just take this job one day at a time. And Schefter keeps talking about Tomlin's future. And I don't know, just two great franchises this millennium that have had two, I'd say, great head coaches that have grown long and weary in the tooth. I'm sure Tomlin would love to have Lamar Jackson, and I'm sure, John Harbaugh wishes he harnessed the devil a little bit more like the Steelers do and can recover 3 fumbles on their own side of the field almost in a row in a must-win game that they lose. But weird, man. It just doesn't feel like it's the end, It doesn't feel right. Like they started when Jake, you're 95. They started when you and I were 08, 13, and 15 years old. That's where you really start to get into sports hardcore about that age. So I remember Cower. I remember Billick well. I remember growing up with that. I remember Plaxico Burress, James Trapp getting ejected. I remember the bus. I remember all that good stuff. I remember Tommy Maddox. I remember Cordell Stewart. But when I think of Ravens Steelers, I think of John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin, and they have faced off more than any head coach combo in history. So very strange. Sarge Tucker here says, can we just trade head coaches? Enough with the will they, won't they? Yeah, I feel that way too. So we'll leave it at that. But I think Monday we'll dive in a little deeper. We're going to try and go live every night this week, but I still am working on my fucking tattoo that I forget. But it just it doesn't feel like the end, but it feels like it's inevitable. I don't know. I don't think anyone would be shocked if it wasn't. And these two guys both come back and it was all just a bunch of BS and whatever. But I know these fan bases have both grown louder and louder and louder and louder. And this is the ironic part. Like Harbaugh blows games, Tomlin blows division leads. Like they both have just been.
He blows games like in a less in-game manner, but they just kind of the losses kind of slowly sneak up on him in a way that they don't with the Ravens. Like the Ravens the Ravens are more performance artists when it comes to like actually blowing real games, but the Steelers, it's kind of more like a leaky balloon, just kind of the air slowly coming out. So
it's less dramatic the way the Steelers manage to do it. The Steelers do it against I feel like the Ravens lose to like good teams that they have a lead against. The Steelers just like come out flat against bad teams and do weird stuff.
I saw Steelers. I think he was like maybe a reporter, maybe even just like a Twitter personality or something. Who was like, the Steelers just can't seem to get that signature win. And it's like, no, dude, they can get the signature win. Like they can go into Detroit and like pull off that huge upset when nobody's expecting that to happen. But then you get Tomlin pounding his chest and looking into the camera and getting all high on his own supply. And then you go into Cleveland the next week and you can't just finish the job against a dead operation in the Browns. Like that feels like their issue to me, but that's from a more kind of zoomed out perspective.
Yeah, I think he's been so conservative in what he does in game for so long. And this year they finally started to go for it on fourth down, started to be a little bit more aggressive, especially on offense. I feel like it feels like Vrabel in Tennessee in a way. And Vrabel, I guess, was more explosive and with a weirder organization in that regard. But Tomlin has so much control of what goes on with that roster and everything, definitely more than Harbaugh does. And he has just been stubborn for a long time, I think, with that offense and running the football and not wanting to get the guy like you mentioned after Ben, and even sticking with. I mean, Ben was horrible. Aaron looked bad this year. Ben looked that way for 2-ish years.
A long time. He hung on too long.
It's definitely a season too much. We got James Page here says he just tuned in. There we go, James. We'll get you tickets.
Jimmy Page.
Send you everything. Jimmy Page. Love it. Thank you for listening, Jimmy. And we're excited. We're definitely down to meet up. If you need help getting there, anything like that, let me know. We'll try and see what we can help you do to get up there. So yeah. Also another Jim 3 Range here. I talked about it last episode. They've lost to teams 8 games under 500 7 straight times. So they just 2 coaches, I think, that and 2 organizations that have gotten high on their own farts a lot. And I think it resulted in the Ravens underachieving this year, having a bad offseason, bad camp, and the Steelers blowing yet. How many years in a row? Like, let me go through their records here. How many years in a row have they been in such a good spot? Let's see. Obviously, this year they were 4-1, and then they dropped to 4-3. and ended up 6-6. Now, then got back up to 9-6, lose to the Browns, of course. Last year, the Steelers started out 3-0. They got to I forget how bad it was. They had
10-3. Fields. They started with Fields last year. He won a bunch of games in a row. It's like, oh, we can't even put Russ back in now. And then they put Russ in, and he looked okay, and they won a couple more games, and they collapsed again.
And they did play a horrible schedule. Looking at it, in 2024, they played Falcons, Broncos, Chargers, Colts, Cowboys, Raiders, Jets, Giants before their bye week. They're 6-2 coming out of that bye. They got to 10-3, man. They went 4-5 coming out of the bye. They beat the Commies, the Ravens, the Browns. They lost to, of course, in Cleveland. They beat the Bengals, who were tough to beat last year with their offense. Their defense was horrible. And then they beat the Browns at home, and then they lost 5 straight games to lose in the wild card. So that was 2024. 2023, they were at 6-3. Ended up 10-7, get stomped by the Bills going on the road. 2020, it's miraculous. I think like the script, like it's almost like the script is showing. Then they finally had the down year. It was 2022. They started 2-6, but guess what? They rattled off a bunch of wins. It was a little bit of the opposite. After their bye week, they go 6-2 and don't sneak into the playoffs there, but finish with their glorious winning season. Never had a losing season. 2021, the Steelers got to 5-3. Ended up 9-8-1 there, unable to grab the reins. 2020, of course, they were 11-0 and finished 12-5, losing in the first round of the playoffs.
Losing, never heard of her.
It just keeps going. 2019, they were 8-5. They finished 8-8. 2018, they were 7-2-1, and then they finished 9-6-1 and missed the playoffs. So really, since they lost to the Jags, which they again lost in the wild card, they've been broken. And I think that Jags loss might have been what broke them. That game was insane with Tevin Smith getting ruled down even. That was the Patriots game that happened, not the Steelers game. But I think the Jags were up 21-0, 28-0 in that game. The Steelers come storming back. Let's see. I can grab the box score real quick. Jags went up 21-0 and then 28-7, and the Steelers stormed back.
It felt like the last gasp of the killer bees there. Yeah.
Right. And Tomlin and Harbaugh, that was kind of, everyone's like, well, what would Tomlin have done with Lamar Jackson? He had prime Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and still really good Ben Roethlisberger, and they couldn't get past the Patriots and couldn't get past the Jags there. So, not a lot of greatness over the last decade for these two teams. I think the Ravens have clearly been more successful, but still it's yielded, one AFC championship game appearance, and that's it. A couple 1 seeds to hang your hat on. So, man, setting the stage here. I guess this is good for Monday night. Congrats, James. We'll hook you up here. I'll DM you in a bit and grab some tickets for you, all that good stuff. But any other thoughts, Jake? Overall,
nothing crazy. We got to emotionally prepare ourselves for these conversations that are going to continue to happen over the next couple of days. And I am just looking forward to clarity as to QB1 status. It feels like that is the big story. We're not going to be able to get around it, but overall, it's just, it's exciting. We're officially in the playoffs. I'll keep pounding that drum, and it's going to be a lot of fun in the run up to it. And, other things to track, TJ Watt's status. I'd be really surprised if he did go in this one. This Ravens defense, how are they going to respond? I did want to talk about the watch party at John Harbaugh's house where things were, quote, raucous and, quote, woke. John Harbaugh, if this is it, thank you for going out on one last banger. A combination of words that, you don't typically see thrown in there together. I'd be curious to see who was at that house party, what the attendance was like, who was, it just a lot of questions that I'm probably never going to get answered, but I will be wondering about them until the end of time.
Jeff Zrebeck speculated that he thinks he meant to say lit.
Yeah, that's totally what it was. Like, I knew it immediately. I was like, he meant to say like lit or something like that. And he went with woke. And, it's just like John Harbaugh.
That's an all-time just coach thing thing to say.
A 63-year-old white man, like trying to relate to his players. That's just, and completely whiffing, but his heart was in the right place. God bless him.
Unbelievable. Well, I guess that about does it. Dave K says we're just fucking babbling about nothing, which I don't think so. I think we had some topics. I think that was a good little episode, Dave.
Oh, yeah. Come on, Dave.
Dave, maybe you're woke and raucous. How about that?
Mm.
So, Pound the Rock. Congrats, James. I think that about does it. Monday Night Football. Falcons got a little lead here. Why don't you go ahead and bet on a little Blake Corum action if you're feeling feisty?
Oh, I sprinkled him for a TD after I saw your tweet. I got him in Pitts. Pitts over receiving yards, not looking good so far. Puka 80+. So we're excited.
Let's see how it turns out. All right. Well, we'll try and do something tomorrow. Have a little jumbo SETI. I'm sure we'll have after this game. It'll shift into week 18, and the two main narratives are going to be Ravens Steelers and Seahawks Niners, and Bucks Panthers. So those are the three headliners, the three bangers. You get one of those on. I think we get Bucks Panthers on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that.
I think you're right.
Something like that. So have a good one, fellas. James will hit you up, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
That we will. Peace out.
See you.